The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by Sidebar, its guests, callers, and advisors are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS Verizon Media Group. Sidebar, a 103.5 The Beat podcast, is a production of ILTV Studios and may not be reproduced or represented, in part or in its entirety, without the express written consent of Verizon Media Group. Sidebar is the intellectual property of Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2024. All rights reserved.
Welcome to Sidebar, a 103B podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. Today, okay, just stick with me. I'm going somewhere with the thought, and I need you to give me a moment. Don't just stick with me on this journey, okay? It's gonna get a little crazy at the beginning. Just stick with me. Give me the time to draw the picture, the full image for you. Once we get there, it's all gonna make sense. I have to say that because I want to talk with you today about conspiracies and conspiracy theories. It is very easy to dismiss the idea of conspiracy theories because a conspiracy theory is the thing that your crazy uncle is always talking about. You know, you're in the middle of a conversation and then he just is like, plastics just make everybody turn into a gal, and lavender is make you more effeminate. You should never use lavender soap. And you're like, okay, my uncle's lost his mind. I don't want to have this conversation with them. I'm just going to ease out of it. And you dismiss it. And that is beyond just a problem. But before we get to that, we have to define what we mean by conspiracy theory, all right? Yes, there's connotation and denotation, right? And the connotation is how words are used, when we use them in context, what we feel words mean. Denotation is what they literally mean. So the dictionary tells you specifically what a word is about. And then the connotation tells you what we actually are trying to say when we're using this word. That's my loose interpretation of those two words. So when you hear conspiracy theory, your connotation is this is a crazy person saying that something nefarious is happening in the background and making things happen. And it is very easy to just be dismissive of it. The denotation of the word conspiracy is simply it's a plan. Somebody is conspiring to do something. That's why people can be charged with conspiracy to commit crimes. They're being charged with planning out a crime. So on one hand, a conspiracy theory is we have a theory that this thing that is happening that doesn't seem to be related to anything or it just seems to be a random occurrence is a planned feature. And on the other hand, it's written off as this person is just crazy. And it's important, I can't prove it, but I think it's important for us to not simply just dismiss everything that is so outlandish and crazy and far-fetched as that's just a crazy person talking. And it's not actually, they're pointing out something that is actually happening. All right? Case in point, if you go back to the lavender thing, we've done tests. The lavender does increase the amount of estrogen production, like smelling lavender. It's not a significant amount. So bathing with lavender soap is not going to make you grow breasts and become a girl. But it does increase lavender production. And that's why it has that soothing, calming effect. That's part of the reason, because you're like, oh, okay. It's not producing like angry, aggressive testosterone. But you'd write it off because it's like, that sounds like a crazy thing. Soap can't make me more or less anything, but it can. But there are more things than just that. And I suspect that there is, and this is the part that I want you to go with me on this. Just follow me on the journey. I think that there is a conspiracy against, and I'm hearing myself even as I say it. There is a conspiracy against Bahamians, for lack of a better term. There's a conspiracy. And the conspiracy has to do with how we view ourselves and what we are capable of. Yes. Does it sound crazy? Yes. And how does it benefit anybody for us to fall prey to this conspiracy? Because that's the other thing. It's not really a conspiracy if you can't prove a plan. Yeah, okay, there are chemtrails in the air, but what would be the point of this plan? You know? Okay, we're gonna change everybody's gender. But why? What purpose does that serve? And so with any conspiracy, you have to not only lay out, okay, I think that this part is weird, but you also got to ask yourself, well, what purpose does it serve? Anyway, that's what we're talking about today. Join me after we take this commercial break. You are listening and watching Sidebar 103 podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. We'll be right back.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting.
Crack that code, win $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
$1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
Welcome back to Sidebar 103 podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. Today we are talking about conspiracy theories. I know it sounds crazy. You're here. This is gonna make sense. So I do think that there is almost like a nefarious plot that is affecting the way Bahamians interact with each other and how we view each other. And this is the problem. And we're going to get to that. But before we get to that, have you ever noticed that there is this weird, almost intrinsic Like, there's this deep-rooted thing where a lot of persons in a lot of institutions kind of shun the idea of higher education. And used to hear it a lot more on the radio a couple years back, where people would be like, oh, well, you know, I ain't going to college. And they say it almost as though it's a badge of honor. And the question is, what is the problem with higher education? And even when I was younger, when I was a kid, I remember in a lot of churches, people would denigrate, they'd say horrible things about, oh, when you go off to school, you become an atheist and you forget all that you learned inside the church. And the question is why? Not why does that happen, but what was this fair? Because if the thing that you have is strong enough, is true, is resilient enough, it will withstand the pressures of a peer-reviewed paper inside any higher education institution. But that's not how they treat it. They treat it like, oh, these institutions are innately evil and they're going to destroy any good that's inside of you. And you have to ask yourself, well, why? What's purpose would that serve? Like, how is that possible? I'm like, oh, because, you know, smart people trick you. But then that sets it up as though there's a us and them, and that there are people who are so smart that they can only be evil, and then there's everybody else. And you can choose to be one of the smart, evil people, or you can choose to be everybody else. I personally believe that if you're smart, you're not going to be evil, because being evil is kind of a dumb prospect. If you're evil, there's always another evil guy that's coming up. There is no true morality amongst evil people because, oh, I think that I'm the best or I'm the greatest. And in reality, nobody actually thinks they're evil. Most people don't think they're evil. Anyway, whole point is, if this thing that you believe cannot withstand this pressure, you should then be questioning the thing that you believe. And you should make it resilient enough that it would withstand the pressure. The truth is, a lot of times people say those things because they feel inadequate in the thing that they themselves believe in. Like, they didn't go to seminary, so they don't know what the Greek and the Latin and the Hebrew is inside the Bible. They're just saying what somebody said to them, and it sounds good, and it worked. But they've never been interrogated by it. And so it becomes this thing that it's like, we are not smart, and nor should we try to be smart. And that's weird. Like, why wouldn't you see yourself as a part of the intelligent class? And what is the point? And this is the conspiracy in my head is, and I don't think that everybody who's a part of the conspiracy is aware that they're a part of the conspiracy, but that's the beauty of a conspiracy. When you are against learning, even though on the surface you say things like, oh, we have a D average and we need to be smarter and X, Y, Z, and then we point to persons who did not grow up within our community but have achieved great things in the name of our community and say, oh, see, look how smart those people are. But beyond that, we just generally frown upon intellectualism. We're not going to move forward. And that itself is a part of the conspiracy. The conspiracy is, in order for us to be swindled, to be pushed over and used, and all of the bad words, oppressed, repressed, all of them, we have to not be, 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 we have aware, first of all. So like not only do we not see it happening, but even when we see it happening, we don't see a way out. We don't figure out a way to plan around it, through it, against it. We just look at it and say, this is how things are. And we've been taught that we aren't intelligent enough to come up with our own plan. We've recited over and over and over again that we must wait for a Messiah to come because we don't have within us the wisdom, the foresight, the endurance. We don't have any of it to make this thing happen. But why? Why do we think that? Like, how does that serve us? It only serves the people who are already on top. The people who are already on top, they're glad that we are still waiting for another Moses, another Messiah, another somebody to come and redeem us, as opposed to us looking around and saying, oh, wait, the issue here is this. We can achieve this. We don't see the big enough picture. And part of that is because we are constantly told to not look at it. For everybody who complains about the D average or uses the D average to denigrate the younger generations, which puts enmity between now people who are younger than a certain age, the people who are in school are like, oh, you used to call me dumb. And so they hate older people and the older people hate them and everybody hates each other. But all those things, we look at it and say, oh, it's a D average. Nobody's taken enough time to look and read what D actually means according to the Ministry of Education's curriculum when it comes to grading the BGCSE papers and realize that the D sounds closer to what a C is. No one's looking at how the papers are marked. If there's a core exam where the highest that I can get, if I get 100% on this exam, is a C. If I get every question right, I'll get a C. What if I get 20% of the questions wrong? Under ordinary circumstances, that would be at 80%. But under the circumstances of you're giving me letter grades, if the highest I can get is a C and I got 20% of the questions wrong, then I fall to the next letter. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is plumb and dumb. It literally means that we have a very weird, and people have asked before why we're using the system, complicated system for marking these papers. But it does serve the narrative to think that Bahamians are stupid. It helps to further this idea that anything great and majestic and magical and state-of-the-art, although we see it on TV all the time, and although it looks straightforward, we say, but why we can't do that, but nothing could happen in the Bahamas. And we don't believe in ourselves. We don't think that it can be achieved. But then, sometimes it does. Sometimes it happens. Like we'll see it happen in front of our eyes. And it's the people who already had the means to do it. They're furthering that effort and they're doing just fine. To go back to the idea of higher education, all right? The original purpose of colleges and universities were not so that you could get $5,000 to $10,000 more at your government job. I mean, thank you, but at the same time, the purpose of those things were so that the bourgeoisie and the aristocracy and their offspring could have something to do. All right, you guys go over here and learn about this thing, learn this thing, because some of the things that we learn at university now would have been taught outside of the walls of university, like the idea of masonry and being an engineer. You become an apprentice underneath someone. You wouldn't go study for years at a school. You would go and learn on the site as something was being built. You'd be building the cathedral next to the person. You'd be, if you were an artist, you would go study under a master artist and then start developing your own techniques and your own style. So a lot of these things, you would go and do it yourself elsewhere. But the university is like, okay, let's learn philosophy. Let's let's keep Latin alive. It's really, and some people are going to hate this. I mean, this is not what it is now, but to some extent it is. If you are able to get into a university 500, 800 years ago, it means that your people aren't poor. And you're around people that are of your ilk. If we come forward into the modern day, you're able to go to college or university and you're able to make it through. It really doesn't matter if you went to a public or a private school. Once you graduated from college, no one cares which primary school you went to, which high school you went to. No one cares about that stuff. No one asks, what was your grade point average when you graduated junior high if you have a bachelor's degree? No one cares if you were on the honor roll in high school, if you have a master's or a doctorate. Because you have a master's or a doctorate. It doesn't matter if you grew up in Beantown, Camp Road, or I don't know the name of any street out west, but let's say Far West Estates, whatever that might be, all right? Nobody cares about that stuff anymore. Being a part of these institutions or doing these things kind of erases the idea of class lines and class distinctions between persons. And that's not dangerous to me, but to the people who their only benefit is their family name and that we are up here and you are down here, for you to cross that line, for you to think that you are as intelligent, and then when you go to college and you find out, oh wait, I'm actually more intelligent than them, that is a problem. That upends the social order. They don't want that. That's the conspiracy. The conspiracy where we are A-okay with basically calling ourselves dumb day in and day out. And we're okay with that. Because even when we say, you know, Bahamians have a D average, and we don't mean ourselves directly, we are still referring to ourselves because no one is looking at the Bahamas as everybody except for Stephen. They don't even know who I is. They're looking at all us together. So every time you say that, you are saying we are dumb. And all of the people that look up to me, they dumb. So all of my children dumb, my grandchildren dumb, everybody dumb. And that's not going to move us forward. I think that almost every person who lives in the Bahamas can walk outside and name 5 problems. Are the problems that apparent? Perhaps, sometimes. But if you've been taught year in and year out that you are too dumb to come up with the solution, we have a whole different issue. You ain't one of the smart people. Bahamians ain't one of the smart. We can't figure it. That's a part of the problem. And when I say the solution, I'm not talking about just, what's the word? It's not populist demagoguery, all right? So the solution to everything is not going to be get rid of the Haitians. The solution to everything is not going to be women need to shut up and stay home. The solution to everything is not going to be why so much gay people around. I dare say the solution to nothing is any of those things. I don't think that any specific group being removed from the country, whether that be migrants, whether that be people of different sexual orientation, whether it be people of different genders, removing them from the pipeline is not going to solve the problems that we have, because the problems that we have are complicated, but they're benefiting somebody. Nothing stays broken unless somebody's okay with it being broken. And if all of us are complaining about it being broken, you have to ask yourself the question, well, who's okay with it being broken? And then you have to figure that out. But that's something that we need to, we can point out the problems, but can we get to the solution? So here, I need you to believe in me, guys. All right? This is going to be, put down the phone. Just, okay, go with me on this, all right? If we look at the government as a group project and we say, something is wrong in my neighborhood. Let's say we need a sidewalk in the neighborhood. That's a fair enough thing, all right? How do we get that to happen? Do we say to ourselves in our house alone, ain't no sidewalk, right? Ain't no sidewalk in my neighborhood, and the children just have to walk in the road and they're dangerous. And don't talk to anybody else about it? Do you talk to the people in the neighborhood about it? Do the people in the neighborhood get together and say, how can we make a sidewalk happen? Do you guys say, all right, we'll go to our MP and we make this happen? Now, maybe you do all of that. This is where a lot of people stop, because I've gone to the MP and I've done my due diligence. But governance is more than just that, all right? There are more parts to government, and there's more that we can do. And sometimes we're agitating for the wrong thing, because the thing that we're agitating for is the small thing. So what would be the reason that the sidewalk isn't being built? It's not that, at least I don't think, that somebody hates your neighborhood and they want everybody to walk in the road and they hope that your ankles crack. That's not the reason why. There is the money that we have within the government is the amount of money that we have. It doesn't matter who is in charge. It doesn't matter if the POP in charge, it doesn't matter if the FNM in charge, it doesn't matter if, God forbid, the COI is in charge. The amount of money is the amount of money. The only thing you can do is look at the wisest way to spend it. If the first thing you have to do is pay everybody's salary, that takes a huge chunk of the money. Now, we put it to infrastructure. We have to go with first come, first serve. What is the most important thing? So we start at the things that are the biggest and impact the most people. The sidewalk is on the agenda, but it's not at the top of the list. Well, how do we improve that? Well, we need more money in the pipeline. How do we get more money in the pipeline? We need more revenue. Well, how does the government get revenue? Through taxes. So do we need more taxes? We have tons of taxes. The question is, are we collecting all the taxes? So now, my suggestion is, and don't listen, so I'm talking to you, right? You got to trust me on this one. It is oftentimes we will talk with the people who are benefiting from things falling apart, and they will try to dissuade us against our own best interest. And they'll say, oh no, tax is bad because, if I have to pay more, then I have more money to give you. How many millions do you have to take home before you're happy? You 85. You could dead soon. Why do you need to be a multi-millionaire? You can't take it with you. You could literally divide up all of your estate right now, live comfortably for the rest of your vampire life on $100,000, and everything will be fine. But you want more because you're greedy. And so you say, no, if I pay more, then this will happen, and blah, 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 blah. It's because you're greedy. Because you want to milk the most that you can out of the system and your employees. And that's just one example. But if you, and I will always harp on real property tax, all right? Most of us, we live in houses on a subscription model. Every month, we got to pay rent or mortgage. It ain't really our house. We say, it's my house, come by my house, buy home, whatever, because we've been there so long, but it's a subscription model. You don't own it. The people who own it, are they necessarily paying real property tax as they should? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. That's one. People who live in palatial estates, are they paying their real property tax on time and always? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Are the people who own multiple pieces of property, are these real estate companies that hold swaths and acres of land that they're saying, oh, we're going to sell this, and this one is 1 million and this one is 5 million and this is, are they paying their 2 to 3% of that 1 point whatever million a year? Because all those little dollars will help increase the coffers for the government so that they can actually implement plans as well as keep everything that is working to fix the broken things. The reason that you may not have a sidewalk through your corner may have less to do with the disinterest of your member of parliament and more to do with the fact that the rich fat cats don't want to pay their share. And what they're hoping for is that all of us are too dumb to read a business report. That all of us that we don't believe in ourselves enough to understand how the economy works, how the dollar works, understand how saving and investing works. They're hoping that we hear it and we zone out, and that the only thing that we focus on is somebody got murdered and they thieving money. And it doesn't, that's the thing. There's always going to be this accusation of person stealing money, but where are anyone presenting, okay, if that person is so corrupt, where is your transparent presentation of your funds and your assets? That makes me question the reason that you're saying it. Are you saying it because you actually mean it? Or are you saying it just because if I say this thing, what's going to happen is these people are too dumb to do the work. They're just going to believe whatever I say and everything will be fine. And that's the conspiracy. The conspiracy is for them to get us to believe that we are too dumb to solve these problems ourselves. I'll tell you another thing, right? In all honesty, if you were to be so apathetic and say, wait, the government is not working. No government is working. I hate all governments. Governments be down. All right? If that is the way that you actually felt and believe that in your heart, there is a solution to circumvent any government. Do it yourself. And when you start doing it yourself, then you realize what it takes to do it. And I know there are people right now, dying my job to do it. That's the government job to do it. Yes, and something is holding them back. But if you are intelligent enough to see the problem, you're intelligent enough to figure out the solution. A lot of these things are not as difficult to fix. It's just that if we are to fix it through a certain channel, then we have to go through a certain channel. You can't mix private and government funds together, so it has to go through the correct channels. But now, there's really nothing stopping you from doing it. There's a lot of things that we have an issue with if we were to take it back to education. If you really thought that the D average was such an abhorrent thing, what are you doing about it? How are you fixing that problem? Most likely, nothing. You're not doing anything about it. But I don't think that you're not doing anything about it because you don't think that it's important. I think you're not doing anything about it because you don't think that you have the ability to do it, because you doubt yourself as a Bahamian. I had to take a quick break. Went over time. When we come back, I want to come back to that point. How do we address that issue where you as a Bahamian can see the power that lies within you and how to address these issues? Anyway, you are watching and listening to Sidebar 103.B podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Thank you. Welcome back to Sidebar, 103 podcast, powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. Today we are talking about, well, the general theme was conspiracy, but it is about specifically the conspiracy of how Bahamians view themselves. And I would like to believe that it would only be that we've been tricked into thinking that we are dumb. But there's also an idea that Bahamians have a lesser view of the quality that they're able to produce. And there was a time, it's not as much anymore, but there was a time where you'd hear music on the radio and people would be like, that's a Bahamian song? I didn't think it was a Bahamian song because it sounds so good. And they didn't mean that there was no good Bahamian music. What they meant was the quality of the production, the way the instrument sounded, the way the voice was recorded, the way it was mixed and mastered, the way it was put together. It sounded of such a quality that people assumed that it was an American production, that it couldn't have been a Bahamian production. And it wouldn't, let's be honest, if somebody got something and it was bad and inferior, outside of food, no one would fight you if you said, what you expect, wait, that's the Bahamas. Like when things go bad, that's a thing. Our rulers, their air conditioning don't ever stop working. Like, I mean, the true overlords of the country. Okay, perhaps an example is best. Are you familiar with RDX? If you are like me, probably not. I went on TikTok the other day. And in all honesty, I went because I got a message on TikTok. I rarely go on TikTok. I saw a message on TikTok. I was like, oh, okay, let me go check TikTok. And then I go on TikTok. And when you come out the messages, TikTok is like, here's a video. We think you'll be interested in this based on where your phone is located, based on your age and your gender. Here's something that you might find interesting. And it was a woman who was a foreigner saying, what's these Bahamian, I think she pronounced Bahamian weird, all right? And they keep saying Bahamas. Anyway, these Bahamian kids, I don't know what they're doing, but they fresh and they're doing this, and is that how you guys dress? And I saw the sound, the music that she's referring to, and a video that she's referring to. I clicked on it, and then it shows me hundreds of videos, all right, based off of a trend for what looks like to be kids, some Bahamian boys in school uniform, maybe in junior high. I don't think it's senior high, but once again, I'm so old, all children look the same. It's either you're a short child or a medium child. But yeah, they're in their school uniform, they wear the big gold medallion, they have the lineup, and then they're doing the dance to this RDX song. And I know the song is RDX song because I was like, what is this song? I've never heard this. Is this a new song? I click it. The song is 10 years old. It's gotten a new life solely because Bahamian boys who are in high school are using the song to dance to maybe 10 seconds of it. Not even a full chorus. 10 seconds. And the first thought in my head was, what is this garbage? This don't make no sense. What these dudes them doing? They ain't even like, because I'm old. I don't feel like these kids are putting in, they're not dancing, you know, and gosh, the more I talk, the older I hear myself. But you know, when Bahamians dance, you gotta move. Something gotta move. They ain't putting their back in it. This song is talking about doing certain actions, and they just, and that's it. Like that, the movement that you just heard or witnessed is all they're doing. And I thought, what a ridiculous thing. And then I went back on TikTok and I saw that people all throughout the Caribbean were emulating it. And to some extent, yeah, they're like, oh, see, we pretend we is Bahamians too, whatever, right? There was a video, and this is one of the videos with lesser views, of somebody imitating, 10,000 likes. And the title was First Bahamian in Bermuda. This person's not a Bahamian, but they're pretending to be a Bahamian based on what the videos present. 10,000 people like it and say, oh, that's so cool. Everybody's doing the thing where they're trying to put a giant medallion on their neck, a big coin medallion, and put the powder on the edges and go around. And I think it's when I start seeing people on the other side of the planet do it that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm the problem. I don't see the vision. Everybody else outside of the country is not looking at this and saying how annoying this is. They're looking at it and saying, wow, what a rich and vibrant cultural thing that is happening down there. This is clearly a real organic thing that's happening, but I'm looking at it and I don't value it. I look at it and I say, this is a stupid thing that little boys are doing and they should be inside and they need to do better. And I'm missing the point. I'm missing the point. I'm the one that's guilty of denigrating my own culture because although that is not my lived reality, that is their lived reality. This is their cultural expression. This is their way of expressing who they are in that moment. This is this is a piece of art. Now, we can argue when they should and shouldn't do it, but it's not like they're doing it in the middle of the classroom. They're in the bathroom. I'm assuming this is either during break time or lunchtime or before school starts or after school is over, but they are not doing it in the classroom. This is not presenting any sort of distraction. What we see here is that they have created something. And once again, it was organic. They didn't sit down and have a conference. They didn't call a consultant from New Zealand to make it happen. They sat down and they said to themselves, hey, this look fresh, hey. Let's do this thing. This could be cool. And they did it. And that's all it took. And now people all around the world are trying to be like them. Not only are people all around the world trying to be like them, I'm certain that RDX has received additional money that they haven't received in years. I don't even know the names. RDX is not one person. RDX is a duo of guys, I think, based on the music video. to perform music. I've never heard any of their music before. But now, because of this trend that young Bahamian boys are doing, they're getting paid. These guys have had a positive impact on the world at large. And it's going to be written off as something silly that some dudes did. And we don't see the necessary power of it because perhaps we're too close to it and we don't value it and we've been taught to not value ourselves. If they are able to make a song popular, if they're able to make their fashion sense, wearing a coin medallion and wearing tied up pants and wearing a short necktie and putting the flower around your head, similar to the way that 10, 15, 20 years ago, people used to make fun of gals and say, oh, you're junglers because you got the baby powder up to your neck. But they're able to make it a thing where people are doing it both ironically and unironically. And it is influencing people enough to go out and purchase those things who don't even live in the Bahamas. So they have this has zero cultural relevance outside of they want to be like these guys. That is a level of power that is frighteningly, that's powerful. How are we not tapping into that? How are we not taking advantage of that? And the reason that we're not taking advantage of it is because we look at it, we don't see it as a real thing. We don't value ourselves. Now, do I hope that these young men realize what it is and see what it is and are able to somehow tap into it and say, well, let's see if we can do it in this direction. Because if you don't control it, then it really can backfire. All right? So yes, it worked with this song. Can we make it work with other songs? Can we do other things with it? Will people still watch and respect us if we aren't dancing or whatever this thing is? All right? But I suspect they would. I suspect that this is proof of concept that Bahamians are, and then that's the other thing. When it comes to intelligence, we have this idea that intelligence is solely this thing. If it's not books, if it's not writing big words and saying big words, it doesn't count as intelligence. But intelligence is way more than just that. Anyway, the whole point is, as Bahamians, we have it within us. It is not only when other people come and do it for us that good things can happen. We can do good things for ourselves. I must admit that this is one of those times where I am guilty of it. It is only when outside people validate it that I'm willing to, that I saw their value. And that's on me. Anyway, that music means it's time to wrap up. You've been watching and listening to Sidebar 103 podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna, True God Still.
numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting.
Crack that code when $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Dollars. Crack the code and win $1 million.
Tired of driving around from place to place just to get your car insured and licensed? Frustrated with the process of being back and forth from your insurance company to road traffic? Well, BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers just made insuring and licensing your motor vehicle as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Visit us at the Road Traffic Department, Section 1, Thomas A. Robinson Sports Stadium. At our office, you can purchase or renew your insurance or get your vehicle inspected. We at BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers represent major carriers. Step 2. See the professionals at Road Traffic to get your vehicle licensed. Step 3. Enjoy your day. Insure with BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers today, saving you time and money. Your one-stop shop for all of your insurance needs. Great rates, convenient, excellent service. For more information, call us at 322-2221.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?